from the studios of Farm Journal Broadcast.
A farm bill continues to take shape as Washington lawmakers listen to the needs of farm country, plus delivering on dicamba. In agribusiness, estimating a national yield.
Let's just pump the brakes here for a minute. We got weather coming in July. We'll see what happens.
Chili peppers are growing in popularity, and see how this state fair mainstay is signaling the importance of dairy in the diet.
Ag Day, brought to you by the dependable, longest-lasting Chevy Silverado.
Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Crop insurance, trade, and farm income all in the spotlight this week as another Senate Ag Committee hearing listens to the needs of farm country. National reporter Betsy Gibbon joins us with more. Betsy.
Clinton, the committee heard from producers, farm organizations, lenders, and crop insurance professionals on what is working and what needs to be adjusted in the upcoming farm bill. National Association of Wheat Growers voicing wheat growers need to maintain revenue protection through the ARC program and ensure the PLC reference price is at a good level too.
The current reference price for wheat of $5.50 per bushel is far below what it costs to produce the crop. We urge you to increase the wheat reference price so it more closely reflects the modern cost of producing a crop. It should be set at a level that is closer to $7 a bushel to try to truly enable PLC to function as a safety net for farmers when times are tough like they are today.
Net farm income declined to an average of $500 in 2015, the lowest amount since the service began keeping records.
Some cotton growers vocal about financial challenges and wanting the same full risk management tools as other crops, since cotton cannot qualify for PLC or ARC payments under the current farm bill.
For the past 3 years, cotton producers have struggled with low prices, high production costs, and the resulting financial hardships. While cotton futures increased for a brief period earlier this year, markets have now retreated, meaning most cotton producers continue to face economic pressures and declining credit conditions.
With trade in the spotlight as well, producers say this farm bill is critically important. Clinton?
All right, thanks, Betsy. Bloomberg reporting that 19 Democratic senators are asking the Justice Department to conduct a thorough and impartial analysis of Bayer's proposed $66 billion merger with Monsanto. Now, in a letter saying the DOJ's Antitrust Division should carefully consider the impact this merger will have on agricultural businesses, farmers, and consumers. The DOJ declining to comment. The companies hoping to close the deal yet this year. Class action lawsuits have now been filed in a dispute over the use of dicamba and crop damage from alleged drift of the herbicide. Before the legal action, Tyne Morgan talked with the makers of the chemistry about the drift allegations and the company's response. Tyne?
Glyphosate-resistant weeds are becoming a nightmare for farmers.
Huge. I cannot kill water hemp or mare's tail with Roundup anymore. Not at all. I can't even slow them down.
It's becoming so bad that it's shifting the way people farm.
It has changed everybody's perspective on how they set their weed management program up. So when it went from we have a few to now weed resistance is how you build your program. How do you manage the resistance out there to keep these weeds under control?
Yeah, as you can see, there are no weeds in this field. Last year it was full of water hemp.
So right now we're in a field of extend soybeans, and you can see these in rows. They did not apply dicamba here because it's so close to the grass. They say this is glyphosate-resistant water hemp, and this is the reason they need dicamba right now.
My fields are as clean as they've ever been. And the last couple of years there, I could not say that. I had a lot of trouble killing weeds last year.
When I look at the fields, there's very few products, probably only 2, that can bring down some of these foot-tall water hemp and mare's tail. And our dicamba mixed with our glyphosate has been one of them that's doing it.
Considering the need and with the number of dicamba damage complaints on the rise, companies like Monsanto and BASF are taking note.
So we're looking at drift retardant agents and nozzles and clean out procedures for growers. We're going to be working with states to make sure that the off-label products aren't used, and that's going to be key. And then we're going to look at what we can do to help growers be more aware of temperature conditions and inversions. So lots to do, but I'm absolutely convinced that these are going to be great tools and they're going to be important for farmers.
BASF says they're aware of issues in the field, already deploying more than 400 field reps to answer questions and concerns. They're also putting money behind getting the right tools in farmers' hands.
One of the key ingredients of that good experience is, from a proper application standpoint, is to utilize the right nozzle. And so what BSF has done is we've invested heavily and have distributed those nozzles to our customers. Over 600,000 nozzles to date BSF has purchased and given to our customers.
While using the correct nozzles will help with on-target application, Hager still foresees possible issues in the future.
Dicamba is dicamba. We can change the salts, we can change the additives to it, but dicamba is still dicamba, and you cannot formulate around the fact that soybean are extremely sensitive.
And it's that underlying issue challenging whether both dicamba tolerant and non-dicamba tolerant technologies can coexist. Both BASF and Monsanto have boots on the ground today, working to find solutions for next year. And while Wolf is frustrated with drift today, he doesn't want to see the weed-fighting tool go away.
But we're not talking about the issues that are really happening. These are happening, they're real. We need this technology going forward, so let's address the issues head on and figure out what we need to do, what's causing these problems.
And while the answer to that question isn't clear-cut, farmers like Vitco hope the product's good outweigh the bad, making dicamba a viable option for years to come.
All right, thanks, Tyne. The Minnesota Department of Agriculture is now investigating complaints of alleged dicamba drift. As of Monday, there are 46 reported cases. That's 10 new cases since last week. The state investigated 3 cases in all of 2016. This morning, we focus on hay cutting in 3 distinct locations. Mike Hoffman has details from the Agday Weather Center. Mike.
Good morning, Clinton. Crop Comments is taking us to Aberdeen, Idaho. This is the second cutting of hay this season. This farmer says the second cutting is actually better than the first. Demand has been good for hay in that area, which is really helping the price this year. Farmers in Elmore County, Alabama are also on their second cutting. A NASS crop reporter says it's been a good week. Statewide, about 3/4 of the hay fields are on their second cutting. Just last week, it was 45%. And in Aroostook County, Maine, hay harvest has finally gotten underway. According to the crop progress report, just 29% of farmers are on their second cutting there. It's usually 60% by now. And taking a look at the root zone moisture, you can see some areas in the Plain States turn drier, others around the Great Lakes wetter. We'll have a closer look at that coming up. But first, here are some hometown temps.
Ever wake up wondering what does today's weather have in store? Well, with weather updates, it delivers the local forecast right to your cell phone each morning to make preparing for the day easier. Just text Weather 6 to 31313 to get started.
The latest crop condition numbers did little to sway markets Tuesday. We'll talk yield expectations, report strategy after the break. And state fair time means the requisite butter sculpture. But one state taking a stand on chocolate milk with their butter display.
Are you a game changer? Know someone who is? Chevron is searching for those people that have made an impact on the industry. Share your nominee at chevrondello.com/gamechangers. Dello, let's go further.
In agribusiness, plenty of red on Tuesday. Let's find out why on the floor of the CME in Chicago.
Soybean market was sharply lower on Tuesday following a sharply higher start on Monday night. Really kind of a roller coaster trade here. The USDA released a crop progress report on Monday afternoon. They told us that 57% of the soybean crop was rated good to excellent. That was a 4% decline on the week, so the trade viewed that as being friendly. So after that report, the market opened sharply higher Monday night and traded 20 to 25 cents higher at one point on Monday night. Now, into Tuesday morning, we saw some new weather forecasts. The GFS model told us that we're going to see a much wetter pattern emerge over a lot of the western Corn Belt in particular. The driest portions of Iowa should see a couple inches of rain over the next 7 days. So that was seen as being negative. The market did nothing but sell off for most of the day here on Tuesday, and we were left with a lower trade. The live cattle market was lower here on Tuesday following a limit down trade on Monday. We saw a limit down trade on Monday in both the live cattle and the feeder cattle market. The box beef market seems to have stabilized a little bit, but this was after a multi-week collapse where we went from north of 250 in choice boxes down to south of 210. So that market has really collapsed here, but may have found some footing here this week. We'll see if we can hold that up into midweek. Again, Joe Vaklake from CME Group here in Chicago.
Following up to Monday's crop progress report, there has been a lot of speculation over national average yields for the major crops. Tyne Morgan picks up the debate in today's analysis. Tyne.
Here now with Jared Creed. Jared, you know, some of these private firms are coming out with a national yield estimate already below kind of 160, even some firms coming out. And you think right now it is unfair to go below 160 at this point in the game?
I would say so. You know, if we look back about a month ago, I think the discussion already was getting towards yield. And at that point, I said, let's just pump the brakes here for a minute. We got weather coming in July. We'll see what happens. But we had to really figure out what acreage was going to be first. And as we know, USDA jumped corn acreage by close to 1 million acres. So here we are sitting on just under 91 million acres of corn with a huge question mark towards yield this year. We know it's not last year. We know it's probably not 2015 either. And that's from a variety of different reasons, from rainfall and moisture profile and temperatures. All these pieces are playing a role. However, you got to take a step back and look at the big picture for a minute. You know, a 25-year trend on corn for the U.S. is probably a little bit less than what a real 4 or 5-year trend is. So as we move forward here, we're going to go into the month of August and get another USDA report, and they're going to give us another shot at yield. We have to know that in August, we might not see big changes.
No.
Because in August, all they're going to do is use a implied ear weight, which is about a 5-year average. It still includes 2012. And then they're going to give us actual ear counts. So ear counts times ear weight, and we're going to get a new estimate yield. Are we going to drop it, you know, sub 165 like some people want to say that that's going to happen? I have a hard time thinking that's going to drop that far right off the bat. Primarily because we definitely know we're going to have ear count issues in certain places. But long term, I don't think that that's going to be really a big story until we abandon those acres for harvesting. Okay. And that's, you know, that's clear out in December, January timeframe. So at this point in time, you know, if you lock in Iowa, Minnesota, Nebraska, Illinois at just, you know, subpar trend yields, 25-year trend, it's a pretty hard time to take your national yield below 164, 165.
All right, thanks, Jared. We appreciate it. Stay with us. We'll be back with more Ag Day in just a moment.
Welcome back to Ag Day. Meteorologist Mike Hoffman looking at the root zone moisture map. And Mike, we can really see things drying out all across the Midwest, even into the key corn belt growing regions.
Yeah, big changes in just a week. There's no doubt about it. And that's why we love this new root zone moisture map from NASA, because it gives you real-time information. So you can see this pocket from western Illinois, northeastern Missouri into southeastern Iowa, much drier this week. Also, the panhandle of Nebraska back into Wyoming has turned drier. It continues to be dry farther north. Those complexes of thunderstorms just kept hitting the same places from southern Minnesota into Indiana, and you can see why those areas are so wet right now. All right, let's go to the maps this morning. Scattered showers and thunderstorms along this system. You kind of hope that that's a little farther north into the really drought areas of North Dakota, northern South Dakota. Unfortunately, no, it's a little farther south, although those areas were drying out. So we'll see thunderstorms from Nebraska, southern South Dakota, all the way into the western Great Lakes as we head through the day today. Hit and miss showers and thunderstorms in the southeast and the southwest, pretty typical for this time of the year. You do have a stationary front, though, down south, and that will help in some areas get some moisture your way. As we head into tomorrow morning, could be a complex of thunderstorms with this area of low pressure riding along the front. So parts of Illinois, Indiana, once again, could get some decent rains. Then you can see thunderstorms from New England all the way through the south central plains into the southwest along that front. This is pretty dry, cool air once again, diving into the northern plains with that area of high pressure. Precipitation estimate over the past 24 hours, a lot of it's been in the southeast and along that front so far in the upper Midwest. Adding in the next 36 hours, you can see how things, once we get to the final look here, you can see how there's going to be some areas of showers and thunderstorms and decent amounts in places across the upper Midwest, but I don't see any widespread rains coming to those areas. High temperatures this afternoon, the heat continues from Kansas southward, lots of upper 90s, even some triple digits showing up there, 70s and 80s farther north. Low temperatures tonight going to stay muggy from the Missouri Valley southward, but farther north on the other side of that front, lows only in the 60s. And you can see as we head through tomorrow afternoon, still hot and steamy from the southern plains to the southeast. cooler once again, continued cooler across the Great Lakes from the northeast. That's been typical pattern this year. And there's a jet stream showing you the pattern. We have this trough diving in as we head through the rest of this week. Ridge kind of shifts to the west, and boy, it's looking more and more like the trough's going to hang on well into next week in the Great Lakes from the northeast, and the ridge stays out west where it's been most of this summer. That's a look across the country. Now let's take a look at some local forecasts. For Medford, Oregon, lots of sunshine and hot this afternoon, high temperature of 96. Newton, Kansas, partly sunny, breezy and hot with a high of 101. And finally, Utica, New York, a mix of clouds and sunshine and pleasant, high 77.
Well, if you like hot and spicy foods like me, stick around. The folks over at the Packer have some new statistics about chili peppers. And this artwork means one sure thing. It's fair time. We'll hear what the message is behind this buttery display. On the Packer TV, new reports put the price of fruits and vegetables in California down 4% in the first quarter. According to the authors of Fusion Marketing, that's the first time in more than 3 years that produce prices have fallen in the Golden State. The average price per pound, $1.69. Now, in terms of dollar sales, fruits edging out veggies this year, and organic sales, well, they rose nearly $4 million. Conventional produce sales, those fell $13 million. Also from the Packer, consumer demand for chili peppers continues to grow. According to California-based World Variety Produce, its fresh chili sales have increased 10 to 15% each year for the past 5 years. There's growing demand for jalapeno and poblano peppers, which add a nice kick to meals. Most of the chili peppers come from New Mexico's Hatch Chili region. It's a 20 square mile intensive chili production near the Rio Grande. The Packer says while the Southwest and the West are the biggest markets for Hatch peppers, sales are spreading across the U.S. And in Washington state, potato growers overwhelmingly voting to keep the federal marketing order. USDA says 86% of growers approved that order. It sets guidelines for grade, size, quality, and other regulations. Ohio's high school athletes and the beverage that fuels them are being celebrated at the Ohio State Fair. Details as we head in the country to the Buckeye State.
In the country. Brought to you by Kubota. See the all-new Commander Pro zero-turn mower at Kubota.com or visit your local Kubota dealer today.
While some school districts are banning chocolate milk in their lunches, the Ohio High School Athletic Association is encouraging their athletes to drink it. And because of their pro-milk stance, this year's butter sculpture at the Ohio State Fair honors the group. In this video provided by the American Dairy Association Mideast, Clark Powell watches as the butter display is unveiled.
One of the Ohio State Fair's best-kept secrets, the annual butter sculpture display, has been unveiled. This year, the traditional butter cow and calf will be joined by a larger-than-life bottle of chocolate milk and 4 high school athletes.
This year's butter sculpture display is a salute to chocolate milk, the official beverage of Ohio High School Athletic Association.
To immortalize our involvement with this tradition is one that we're truly honored to be involved with.
Sculptors worked in a 46-degree cooler for about 500 hours to shape the 2,000 pounds of butter into the final works of art. And for the first time ever, they used tinted butter to make the milk bottle look extra creamy and chocolatey.
Since we're doing chocolate milk this year, they came up with the idea to mix a little cocoa powder in with the butter and introduce a new color.
The American Dairy Association Mideast has partnered with the Ohio High School Athletic Association for nearly a decade to encourage student athletes to fuel up with healthy foods like low-fat chocolate milk. Chocolate milk provides protein and 8 vitamins and minerals to help student athletes perform their best on and off the field.
Our partnership with Ohio High School Athletic Association reminds students to fuel up with chocolate milk and lead a healthy lifestyle.
More than 500,000 people are expected at the Dairy Products Building during the fair to check out these impressive works of art. In Columbus, this is Clark Powell reporting.
Ohio's position is counter to what we see in the city of San Francisco. The public school system there just announcing 2 weeks ago that it's banning chocolate milk for elementary and middle schools this fall, and it will be banned in high schools starting in the spring. That's all the time we have this morning. We're sure glad you tuned in. Start your day with us. For Tyne Morgan, Betsy Gibbon, and Mike Hoffman, I'm Clinton Griffiths. Have a great day.
Ag Day is powered by Ram Trucks, America's longest lasting pickups.